Yay! You did it! You scheduled your very first appointment. That is fantastic. So you're probably wondering, what comes next? Well, the next thing you want to do is you want to take all that information that you put into your CRM or your dialer as the prospective client was speaking, and you want to put that on the Google Calendar entry. Now, this is especially important if you're the ISA, because if you're the ISA, you're not meeting with that person. Your agent is, and that agent hasn't had any prior contact with that person before the actual meeting. So you want to make sure you give them a concise accounting of everything that you learned. It also holds true if you're the agent, because even though you had the conversation with them one-on-one, you've got a lot going on and you're not going to remember everything that they said. And isn't it annoying when you pour your heart out to someone and then they ask you to repeat that information later? We don't want to do that. We want to be really good, active listeners, and we want to take notes in case we forget that information so that when the appointment arrives, we'll be ready to go. So come on, let's go ahead and make that calendar entry. Okay, so our example today is going to be a listing appointment, and I went ahead and picked out a really nice for sale by owner that I found on Zillow. I wanted to show you 3 key areas that I look at when looking at a for sale by owner, so I can kind of size up the listing, size up where the seller's at in the selling process. This will only empower myself as an agent or the agent that's going out to meet with the seller. So let's take a look at those areas, okay? The first one is time on Zillow, or days on market. This particular home has been on the market for 68 days, and the market where I'm at, like most of the areas in the country, is pretty hot. So I'm wondering why it's been on the market that long. I definitely want to make note of the days on market on the calendar, okay? So let's scroll down to the second area that's important, and that is price and tax history, or price history. That's what I'm really looking at. I want to know what the seller paid for the property when they bought it. I want to know what the legacy price is. That's what that is. So it looks like the seller bought the property back in July of 2012 and they paid $180,000 for it. So they have good margins. What do I mean by that? It means that because the market is so good right now and so strong, they can list it at a price that's considerably higher than what they paid for it. And as you can see, they listed it for sale in November of last year for just under $380,000. That's more than double of what they paid for it. So they've got good margins. They might have some flexibility with their price. And looky here, I found another important detail. They were on the market for only 11 days before they went under contract. Here's a pending sale. But then 16 days later, they were listed for sale again. So it looks like the property fell out of contract. All very important information for me to include on the appointment entry that I'm going to make. Again, I'm sizing up the opportunity. I'm trying to determine how I can bring value and where the seller is at in the process. Now, the third area that I want to look at is I just want to look at the home itself. I want to look at the product. They've got it displayed very nice. It's got great curb appeal, super nice townhome. It's got a nice front yard, beautiful tree in the front, nice backyard area. Looking at this deck, I think it could be rejuvenated a little bit. So if I have a contractor, I might want to mention that contractor at the listing appointment and let them know that I might be able to make this deck look a little bit nicer, because I'm sure it could be a concern with buyers. So that's another note that I'm making. Look at the kitchen. It looks beautiful. It looks like it's been recently renovated. Excellent. It's really a really nice townhome, and I'm just assessing everything that it has to offer by looking at these photos. Moving over to the calendar tab, let's find out when our seller wants to meet. Let's say the seller wants to meet at 12 o'clock on Sunday, February 6th. So let's click on there. And the first thing I want to do is I want to indicate what type of appointment this is. I always put LA for listing appointment, or you put BA if it's a buyer's appointment. And then this is going to be an in-person appointment. Sometimes they're via phone call or Zoom. You want to specify here what time of appointment it's going to be. Okay. Now let's say the name of our seller is we'll just say Mike Jones is our seller. Okay. And then here I want to put down Mike's phone number. I usually put the phone number in 2 different areas, just to be safe. So let's just say this is his number here. And I'll specify cell or landline. This is important because the agent might want to send a text to Mike, and you've got to know if you're working with a cell phone or a landline. So now here we want to put down the address of the property. I won't put down the actual address of this property, we'll just say that. And then here I also want to put down, where did I find this listing? Where did this come from? Well, this is a for sale by owner. And then I also want to copy and paste the link from the listing into the calendar invite as well. This will enable my agent to actually pull it up for themselves. My job is to hand this baton over to them, and I want them to be fully equipped going into this listing appointment. I want to make it as easy on them as possible and really make sure that the seller does not have to repeat anything that they told me, because I had really good notes about everything they said. So we'll go ahead and add this link in there. And I'm just kind of making this fuzzy for you guys because I don't want to put anyone's specific address on here for the purposes of this video. So now I want to put down what the actual list price is. What do they currently have it listed at? $379.9. If it's been on the market for a while and there was a price reduction, I might put here original list price. But this is the only list price that they've had. The way it's for sale by owner. If this wasn't expired, I would put like previous broker so they know what firm they were working with before. But again, this is not relevant because we're working with a for sale by owner. And I will just get into detail about what we talked about. Mike needs to move because he wants to relocate closer to his children's school. Motivation is so important in selling. Anything that I learned from Mike during the conversation, I want to include here. I'll just put, seller renovated the kitchen last year and invested $20,000 into those renovations. Okay, that's definitely going to be important information. Property was in contract before, but fell out of contract due to, put that reason down, whatever that might be. Mike has been getting a lot of calls from brokers, had a bad experience with a broker 10 years ago. For this reason, he is selling for sale by owner. This is important for my agent to know because they're walking into an environment where the seller really doesn't trust agents, and that's quite common for people that are selling for sale by owner. So we have to earn his trust. We have to show them that we're valuable and can really, really help him. That's something important. Remember how I talked about legacy price? Well, I forgot to put that here, so let me go ahead and put that in here. I usually use LG for legacy price, and what did we say they paid for the property in 2012? $180,000. And then anything else that you can think of that you may have learned during the call. Mike is weary about paying commission. I explained to him that we offer a flexible commission structure. This lets my agent know that commission could be a sticking point for Mike. We have to really make sure that we're clear about our commission structure, and hopefully what we're offering makes sense for both Mike and us. I put the phone number down here. I like to put it in there twice. And then I also want to put down the email address if I have it. Okay. And you don't always get all the information that you want, guys, and that's okay. Just put down whatever you learned. Remember, you're asking probing questions to really kind of ascertain where the seller's at in the selling process, their motivation. As much as you can get, I want you to put here in the calendar entry. This is going to empower your agent to really be prepared for that meeting. And you don't want to have that seller repeat themselves because they already opened up their heart and gave their time. I'm sure they were getting all kinds of calls. So let's make sure we're on our game and they don't have to repeat anything because we have it all here in the notes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If so, please leave me a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to the channel. There'll be a new video every Monday. Thanks so much. Take care. See you next time.